Information Podcast. I'm your host, Simona Spark, and our mission is to build a future where no one needs to come out anymore. Together, we can create a world where everyone has the right to love, to succeed, to have a family, and to live a full, happy life. Welcome back, everyone. Our today guest is Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hello.
Let's start with introducing yourself, please.
So my name's Kate Reynolds. I'm an embryologist at Fertility North, which is an IVF laboratory in Perth, Western Australia. I've got a special interest in the LGBTI community and all the challenges they may face from my own personal experiences. I'm in a same-sex relationship myself.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that your personal experience is actually helping in your work?
I bring a different perspective to our lab and clinic. My co-workers haven't really thought about before until they met me, and then seeing our patients come through. We get quite a few same-sex couples come through, we get transgender patients come through, and just things that may be kind of second nature to me now. It just doesn't occur to them.
Mm-hmm. So being part of LGBTQ community, you have a better understanding where your patients are coming from, and it's a different level of connection. Is that right?
Yes, definitely.
While other colleagues might not have a full understanding of these unique issues.
Yeah, I don't blame anyone that I work with for not having this understanding, because why would they if they're not faced with these issues every day, or if they don't have anyone close to them that are faced with these issues, they know. So I've always been very open with everyone and said if they ever have any questions or queries or anything, just to come to me. I'm more than happy to either share my experience, give advice, or anything they may need.
Mm-hmm. And how is the approach different for a LGBTQ patient?
We started seeing more and more same-sex couples coming through, and people started to realise that maybe there's some things that they don't know and how they can be better in themselves with addressing these issues that these individuals may face. What's the best way, or most appropriate way that they can speak to these people? And in general, it's just you don't want to treat anyone different. They don't want to feel like they're different, but there are some things that you've got to be wary of, such as pronouns, like he, she, they, them. It's something. It's seemingly as simple as pronouns can cause a very big impact on a person if you use the wrong one. So you never assume pronoun.
So how do you do that? How do you know?
I try and speak without using pronouns unless you know for sure that they go by a certain one. So things like that. And then with me arriving and being open about myself and that, they started asking more questions.
Seems like a training in this topic could be very useful in a workplace.
And we had a workshop here. It's called Opening Closets. It's run through Living Proud. It's just for professionals working with the LGBTI community, and there's information shared, skills developed, awareness raised. It's a half-day workshop, and it's a very eye-opening workshop, but I think it's very, very important for any company that has any people from any walks of life that may be clients, patients, anything, or even their colleagues.
I love it. So smart and so beneficial to everyone.
Definitely.
We all want, as clients or patients, to be treated like clients and patients, regardless of our sexual orientation, by our service providers or care providers.
Yeah. You don't want someone if you may not look like a stereotypical male or stereotypical female, you don't want someone to have a second glance at you, like an obvious second glance.
Exactly.
So it's going to make you feel like there's something wrong with you and all these things. So it's really, really important to raise this awareness so things like that don't happen.
Right. And I can only imagine how sensitive and difficult it is in your work, because people not only they need to put themselves, being so vulnerable, but they are here
with creating a family in non-traditional ways.
Yeah, exactly. So we want Fertility North to be a safe space for them so they can be open and honest with everyone here about their journey, about what they're feeling, so we can help them in any kind of way we can to make them feel more comfortable and to provide them with anything they may need. I just want them to know that it is okay to to be open. We're not going to judge anyone. We have all sorts of people from all these different walks of life. Like, no one's any different.
Mm-hmm.
Each patient is on their own journey, and we do what we can to make everyone feel safe and like we care.
Yes, care and no judgment.
Yeah.
How do you perceive the support of your patients from the LGBTQI community? Do they have enough support at home, or they're relying on each other and on the doctor?
It's very different for everyone. Some people have terrible stories from when they try to come out of the closet and they don't have anyone, they don't have support. Their parents can kick them out of home, or friends can turn their backs on them. But there is a lot of community support. In Perth, we've got a place called the Freedom Centre, which is a safe space for people, I think it's under the age of 26 can go. They've got different sessions on. Mm-hmm. And organisations like this are just amazing. If we didn't have places like this where these people can go, then I just hate to think they could be left with nothing. I can't even imagine what it would be like to trying to be yourself, but then in order to be yourself, you lose family, friends, or if even trying to come out at work, if there's discrimination there.
It just doesn't make any sense in this time that we are living. I mean, we had come so far.
Yeah.
We have laws and regulations, and yet the discrimination is still there everywhere.
Yeah.
And we are still fighting.
Oh, for sure.
The same battle that we fight 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
I think we'll always still be fighting. Like, sometimes I can't even walk down the street holding my partner's hand without someone making some kind of derogatory comment at us or giving us some kind of dirty look. It's just something that, it's sad to say, but we're kind of used to it because it's just something that's always happened to us. And I do think it will get better, but I still think that there's still going to be people out there that don't agree.
And that is just not fair to get used with derogatory comments.
I know, it's not worth fighting. Like, I don't want to turn around someone on the street and confront them about it because that's not a very safe thing to do. You don't know how these people are going to react. So sometimes it's just easy just to keep on walking and try to ignore what they've said or done.
Right.
I'm relatively lucky that it is only the comments and glances and things like that. It's other people that can get beat up on the street, far worse, which is it's really disgusting.
That's terrifying.
So, yeah, it is. It's terrifying just for people to walk down the street, being who they are, dressing how they want, what makes them feel comfortable. It puts a target on their back.
Awful. I want to believe that the things are getting better and better.
And
that we could assure our children and teenagers that it's safe. What will you say to teenagers these days? What would be your advice?
From my personal experience, I can tell them that things will get better, especially in this day and age. There is so many more accepting people out there that understand what we're going through or want to understand. There's so many more safe places out there. I would say that when they're ready, it is good to talk about it with someone that they feel like they're close to and they feel will understand, because it's hard keeping all these thoughts inside and struggling with it yourself. It's good to eventually talk to someone and taking that initial step, because it can eat you alive if you're just so confused. And sometimes people also need the time to process things. It may not just happen overnight. It may take a couple of years. I didn't tell anyone for a couple of years because I was confused myself. Yeah. Looking back on it, it was so obvious for my whole life, but I didn't know anyone that was gay. There wasn't really anyone on TV shows I watched or movies I watched that were gay. So I think not having these role models or important figures in my life, that might have held me back a bit in realizing.
Different than these days.
Yeah. These days there's so many more like celebrities that are out and proud and talk about it. And that is really, really important. And having storylines in movies where there's queer characters, it's so important.
Absolutely.
And that's, I think, education in schools is also important. We had this whole thing with safe schools in WA, educating children about LGBTIQ community.
That's fantastic. And I think it's crucial because, like, when I was in school, we had no education around LGBTQ or gender expression. You know, we grow up believing that is a binary word and that's it.
Yeah, I had no education in school about it, so I had no idea. But there was such an uproar about it from parents saying, why should their children hear about stuff like this?
I believe it, because the parents are the one that need to be educated first.
It's just, I was just so shocked by so many people were against it, because I think it is so important, not only for those that may be struggling with it, but for their peers to be understanding, because bullying is such a massive issue in schools.
Yes. In my coaching practice, I work with teens and their families, help them navigate the unique challenges of being a LGBTQ child. But when it comes to parenting and how we raise our children, just because your child is not gay, that doesn't give you a free pass to not be changing your mindset around this issue. Because when you talk about bullying, they don't do it because they're mean. They just do it because they don't know different, because they be not taught about their parents.
Yeah, and bullying's a learned behaviour. No one would just go out and just pick on someone who may look a bit different just out of nowhere. They'll learn this from their parents. If their parents are going to make comments about someone for whatever reason, they're going to pick that up and continue on with that and practice that. It's really bad. So yeah, education needs to happen with parents as well.
And maybe starting with the parents.
Yeah, but some people are so stuck in their ways that they don't want to learn. They're just, for whatever reason they may have, they're like, nope, this is wrong. I'm not going to go back on it.
Right.
Even if they think it's wrong, why should they be trying to stop people being who they are? Like, how are we hurting anyone? All we want is to be with our loving partner and live our lives normally. We're not doing anything different to anyone else. We just have to be in something that they don't deem as a normal relationship.
Right.
And that's exactly what I want for my child, But as a parent, I cannot not be worried about the extra challenges. I just want my child to be safe,
Yeah. I know with my parents, it's just they just want what's best for me, and they're just worried about me, that there's these challenges that I'm going to face that other people may not face. It's just because they cared about me and they just needed to get their head around that.
Right.
So let's shift the gear a little bit and talk about love. Are you okay with sharing about your partner?
Yeah, of course.
Just a little introduction, since we decided that you both will come back with your both stories and sharing the experience of coming out. So are you guys girlfriends, married? Where are you at?
No, we're still girlfriends. We definitely want to get married in the future. We want to have kids. It may not seem that long, but I know that she's the one. She's perfect. I've never been able to be myself as much as I have around her than anyone in the past. She's so supportive. She's just the most amazing person I've ever met. I'm very, very lucky.
That's so beautiful.
I'm so happy for you guys.
We're going traveling next year and we want to buy a house and then think about having a family.
I love it.
But we've already got our family anyway. Even if we don't have kids in it, we've got 2 cats who we love.
That's so great. And I love that you said that you already have a family, because you find the person that you love and she's loving you back for who you are.
Yes.
And together you get to create the family that you want.
Yeah.
And this is the mindset that we want to shift, like moving away from that ideal family of mom and dad and 2 kids, and open our hearts and our mind to what's actually happening in reality.
Yeah.
There is divorces, there is stepchildren, step-parents, single parents, gay couples, gay parents, adopting children, just name it. And they're all families, and that's all right.
Yeah, definitely. And like, if we don't have a kid, I will still be happy. I would like kids in the future, but if that doesn't happen, then I've still got the love of my life. We still got our cats.
Right. A family doesn't mean that you have to have children in order to be a family.
There is another issue around it. There are some people, myself included, that are psychologically adverse to carrying a child. It just feels, just the thought of it feels wrong. It's kind of hard to explain, but I just know that that's something that I would just never be able to do. I can't even entertain the idea of it. So then that put a lot of pressure on her to be like, if we're going to have kids, I mean, she has to carry them. And she's a bit back and forth about it. Some days she's like, yeah, I think I can do this. Others, she's like, oh, I don't know if I can. So I can't say to her that it's up to you. If you don't do this, we're not going to have a family like that. That's why I say if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're happy either way.
And this is just another challenge that a gay couple need to overcome. Like in this case, we have two women. Which one is going to carry the baby? I can't even imagine what a couple is going through to make that decision.
The ideal scenario in my head would be if she does decide that that's something that she thinks she'll be okay with doing. If we had more than one child, maybe we could use each of our eggs with the same donor. So it's called reciprocal IVF.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's something that it can't happen everywhere across Australia yet, but as time progresses, clinics are understanding that things aren't as black and white as they may have originally thought.
Right.
And so hopefully things will change in the near future. So couples will have access to procedures such as reciprocal IVF.
Yes, that will be wonderful and helpful for couples. So in this scenario, you guys will have the same donor and you'll be using both of you eggs. So the children will carrying both of yours DNA.
Yeah, and this genetic link to each other.
Yes.
And I'm curious, how would you guys choose your donor?
And there is options though, like here at Fertility North with our donor program, there's different kinds of donors you can access. Like the people bring in their own known donors, so people they know. You can get clinic unknown donors, so people that actually come into our clinic to donate, or we've got access to an international cryobank, so we can get international gametes sent over. So there is options.
Yes.
And it is an entire process, regardless if you're looking for a sperm donor or for an egg donor. People are exploring worldwide to find exactly what they need.
Yeah.
And it's complex and stressful and it's not cheap.
Like, I'm not going to lie, it's not cheap, unfortunately. I wish it could be cheaper, but it is very important to go to a licensed clinic if this is something that you want to go through, just for the safety aspect of it. Because if you're trying to do something like this at home, you have exposure to diseases. There's the legal aspects as well.
Right.
These things that you don't really have to think about if you come to a clinic, because like our donors, they're screened, they've had counselling. You have to have counselling yourself to make sure that you're happy that this is something that you want to go through.
And talking about preserving fertility, would you tell us how is that presented to transgender community?
Yes, another very important issue. It's such a big thing in their life, going through all these changes, and a lot of them they're going to want to rush it, which is completely understandable. They're having all these thoughts and feelings about their body. It's not right. But it's a very difficult one, because before they go on their hormones and proceed with all this, it is important to consider in the future if they want to have a family, or just having that backup there just in case they want it. So that's something else we do here. We have quite a few transgender patients coming through to preserve their gametes. So yeah, that's something else that I think's really important, and that they know that it is a safe space here, that no one will judge them. That we understand that with trans men, it's an invasive procedure, an oocyte collection. It's very invasive. And then with trans women, just the act of producing the sample, it may seem and feel wrong to them, and it's very difficult for them to do.
I can't even imagine. I mean, especially if you think that this patient might be teenagers. I mean, what's the age?
I don't think we've had anyone under the age of 18. But it is something that when they go see their counsellor, the counsellor who's specific to their needs and their journey, the counsellor will have more information and be able to point them in the right direction, and before they move on to something irreversible, can suggest that this could be an option. And it's not something they have to do. They don't want a family, then it's completely understandable. They're not forced to do this. It's just an option, and I do believe it's something that should be considered.
Yes. Such an important step in transitioning process.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's a step in a process, regardless, when facing a transitioning process, I think being informed and educated regarding fertility, it's very important.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how a 16, 18 years old could decide if they want a family one day or not. So preserving the fertility is a option in case that you decide 10, 20 years later that you do want to have children that are carrying your DNA.
Exactly. So it's just kind of the peace of mind as well.
I love that. Peace of mind.
So it's something just for them to consider. And that's something that I'm very interested in finding more about and speaking to these counsellors that see patients like this and educating them more about just making sure that these people are told that it is an option for them, that they can do this, and there are safe places for them to go to do it.
Yes, and thank you for doing that work.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, we did cover a lot of topics, and I cannot wait to have you back. I'm pretty sure that we could go so much deeper.
Oh, for sure. We can for sure go deeper.
But for now, I'm really looking forward to have you back with your partner.
Yeah, would love to.
Till then, thank you, Kate, for your sharing and for all the educating information that you provide us with today.
Yeah, sure.
See you next week, both of you.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Thank you for tuning in to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. Feel free to share your story, knowing that your story could change someone's life. We invite you to spread the love by sharing our message with others. And leave your comments at spark@redefinefamily.com. Until next time, remember that you are the spark in your life. Just shine bright.